Long ago, in the prosperous kingdom of Orani, where golden savannas rolled into the horizon and rivers whispered secrets to the winds, King Dalo ruled with wisdom and strength. Beloved by his people, his reign was peaceful, and the kingdom flourished. However, his heart longed for an heir, and after many years of prayer, Queen Amara gave birth to a daughter. The child, named Zara, was born under a blood moon. That night, the village seer, wrapped in crimson robes and adorned with cowrie shells, appeared in the royal chambers. Her face was grave, her voice trembling with a mixture of awe and fear. "This child is no ordinary one," she said, her words echoing in the silence. "She is marked by destiny. 7 trials will define her life. She will face betrayal, suffering, and pain. She will lose everything, but through her trials, she may save us all." King Dalo's face hardened. What kind of father allows his daughter to suffer? But the seer only bowed her head. "The path cannot be changed. Her strength will come from her suffering." Despite his dread, Dalo swore to protect Zara. He trained her in the ways of warriors, teaching her to wield a sword as deftly as she wore her crown. Zara grew into a fierce and compassionate young woman, earning the love of her people. They called her the Lion Princess for her courage and fiery spirit, unaware of the prophecy that loomed over her. On Zara's 18th birthday, the kingdom prepared for a grand celebration. Villagers danced in the streets, drums echoed through the air, and the aroma of roasted maize filled the palace courtyards. Zara smiled as she watched her people celebrate. But as dusk fell, the skies darkened unnaturally, and an ominous silence swept over the land. Suddenly, flames erupted in the sacred fields where the kingdom's crops were grown. The fire was unlike anything anyone had ever seen, wild and alive, consuming everything in its path. King Dalo summoned his guards to fight the fire, but their efforts were in vain. The flames seemed impervious to water or earth. Panic gripped the people as the fire threatened to spread to the village. Zara, unable to stand idly by, mounted her horse and galloped toward the inferno. "Zara, no," her father shouted. But she was determined. She rode into the heart of the blaze, coughing on smoke as the heat seared her skin. When her horse collapsed, terrified, Zara continued on foot, shielding her face with her arms. At the center of the inferno, she saw it, a massive lion with blazing golden eyes, its mane crackling like fire. The creature's presence was overwhelming, its gaze piercing. Zara froze, her heart pounding. "Are you ready for what is to come?" The lion's voice rumbled, deep and commanding. Zara could barely speak. "What are you?" "Your trials have begun," it said simply. As the lion vanished, Zara collapsed. Hours later, she awoke in the ashes of the fields. The crops were gone, the land barren, and the people's whispers filled her ears. The destruction of the fields plunged the kingdom into despair. With their food supply gone, hunger loomed. Zara stood before her people, ready to address their fears. But before she could speak, Cade, her most trusted advisor and childhood friend, stepped forward. His voice rang with authority, but his words struck like a dagger. "This fire was no accident," he said, pointing at Zara. "It is the curse of the blood moon. The prophecy has come to pass. The princess brings ruin upon us." The crowd erupted in gasps and murmurs. Zara stared at Cade in shock. "You know that's not true," she protested. But Cade's betrayal was complete. For the good of the kingdom, she must leave. Her presence will only bring more suffering. The people, gripped by fear, turned against her. They shouted for her exile, their once loving faces now twisted with anger. Zara looked to her father for help, but King Dalo's shoulders sagged with defeat. "My child," he said softly, "they will not listen to me. You must face this alone." Heartbroken, Zara was dragged to the palace gates and cast out into the wilderness with nothing but the clothes on her back. Zara wandered the wildlands for days, her body weak and her spirit broken. The blazing sun turned her skin raw, and thirst clawed at her throat. One evening, she stumbled upon a dark cave and entered, seeking shelter from the relentless heat. The moment she stepped inside, the air grew icy, and an eerie silence filled the space. Then, the whispers began. "You are a failure, Zara. Your people hate you. Even your father let you go." The voices grew louder, circling her like vultures. Shadows emerged, taking the shapes of her father, Cade, and the villagers, all pointing at her, laughing and jeering. Zara fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Stop it," she cried. The shadows pressed closer, their laughter echoing in her mind. But deep within her, a spark of defiance ignited. Zara gritted her teeth and clenched her fists. "I am more than your whispers," she said, her voice steady. "I am Zara. I will not break." The shadows dissipated, and the cave filled with a soft, golden light. A spring bubbled up from the ground, its water cool and clear. Zara drank deeply, feeling strength return to her. As Zara ventured deeper into the savannah, she encountered a lion, thin and hungry, its golden eyes locked on her. The beast growled, its ribs showing through its fur, as it prepared to attack. Zara had no weapon, no way to defend herself. But she stood her ground. "If you must take my life, then do it," she said calmly. "I will not run." The lion paused, its growl softening. Slowly, it stepped back and began walking away. Zara, intrigued, followed the creature. The lion led her to a hidden valley, lush with fruit and fresh water. For days, Zara rested there, regaining her strength. The lion watched her silently, never straying far. She realized that the lion was more than a mere animal, it was a guardian, testing her courage and resolve. As Zara continued her journey back to Orani, she came upon a vast river blocking her path. But instead of flowing water, the river was frozen solid. The ice was thick, but the current beneath it roared, audible even through the silence of the wilderness. The surface shimmered, reflecting the crimson hues of the setting sun. Zara stepped cautiously onto the ice, the air biting at her skin. Each step felt heavier than the last, and the river's surface began to shift and ripple. Suddenly, she stopped, startled by the image staring back at her. It was her reflection, but it wasn't her. The reflection smiled cruelly. "You're wasting your time, Zara. Your kingdom doesn't want you. Your father allowed them to send you away without a fight. Why return to a people who betrayed you?" Zara's heart clenched, but she gritted her teeth. "You are nothing but a shadow. I won't listen to you." The ice beneath her feet cracked, and Zara plunged into the freezing waters. The cold was unbearable, slicing into her skin like knives. Her lungs burned as she struggled against the current, her arms flailing. Memories began to flash before her eyes, her father's quiet strength, the joy of her people, and the betrayal that sent her here. "No," Zara thought, her resolve igniting. "This isn't how it ends." With one final surge of strength, she broke through the surface and dragged herself onto the riverbank, shivering and gasping for air. The frozen river behind her began to thaw, its ice melting into a calm, steady flow. Zara stared at the water, feeling her resolve harden like steel. Zara reached the outskirts of Orani to find the kingdom in chaos. Her father had been imprisoned by Cade, who had declared himself the new ruler. The villagers, already weakened by hunger, had been forced into servitude by a cruel warlord Cade had allied with. Zara entered the village under cover of night, avoiding patrols and slipping into her family's palace through a hidden passage only she and her father knew. Inside, she found King Dalu shackled in the throne room, his once proud frame now frail. "Father," Zara whispered, rushing to his side. His eyes widened. "Zara, you're alive?" I am, and I will set things right, she said, her voice firm. King Dalu shook his head weakly. Cade has taken everything. His soldiers control the kingdom. The people are too afraid to fight back. Zara clenched her fists. They may have taken the kingdom, but they haven't taken our spirit. I'll show them that hope is not lost. Zara rallied the remaining loyalists, gathering villagers who still believed in her. They spread the truth about Cade's betrayal, and Zara's return ignited a spark of resistance. But Cade was prepared. He confronted Zara in the Great Hall, flanked by his soldiers. You should have stayed in exile, he sneered, drawing his sword. And you should have stayed loyal, Zara shot back. The duel that followed was fierce and brutal. Cade was skilled, but Zara's time in the wilderness had honed her strength and instincts. With a final, devastating strike, she disarmed Cade, leaving him on his knees. The villagers, emboldened by Zara's victory, rose against the remaining soldiers, reclaiming their kingdom piece by piece. Though Cade was defeated, the warlord he had allied with was not. The next morning, an army marched toward Orani, led by the warlord and his monstrous black lion. The beast was twice the size of any lion Zara had seen, its eyes like pits of darkness. The people of Orani gathered, their faces pale with fear. Zara stood before them, the golden lion by her side, its mane shimmering with power. This is my fight, Zara declared. But I will not face it alone. Stand with me, and we will reclaim what is ours. The people rallied, armed with whatever they could find. Together, they prepared for battle. When the warlord's army arrived, the clash was deafening. Spears clashed with shields, and the black lion tore through the ranks with terrifying ferocity. Zara fought alongside her people, her blade striking true. But the tide began to turn as the warlord unleashed his full might. Realizing the black lion's power was tied to the warlord's strength, Zara climbed to the palace rooftop, where the warlord watched the battle unfold. I challenge you, she shouted, her voice echoing across the battlefield. The warlord laughed but accepted, his black lion at his side. The golden lion roared, leaping to protect Zara as the duel began. The battle was fierce, the warlord's strength seemingly endless. But Zara fought with everything she had, the golden lion matching the black lion blow for blow. When the warlord struck her down, Zara crawled to her feet, bloodied but unbroken. If my life will save my people, then take it. Zara cried, her voice filled with defiance. The golden lion roared, its light merging with Zara's body. Empowered by its strength, she struck the warlord with a final, devastating blow. The black lion dissolved into shadow, and the warlord fell. At sunrise, the battle was over. The warlord's army fled, and the people of Orani stood victorious. Zara returned to the palace, her father waiting with tears in his eyes. You have proven yourself, my daughter, he said, his voice breaking. You are more than a princess. You are our savior. In a grand ceremony, King Dalu placed the crown on Zara's head, declaring her the new ruler of Orani. The people cheered, their faith in her stronger than ever. Zara turned to the crowd, her voice steady and strong. We have faced darkness and despair, but together, we overcame. I will lead you with courage, and we will rebuild this kingdom as one. The golden lion, now part of Zara's spirit, shimmered faintly at her side before vanishing into the sunlight. From that day, Zara ruled as the Lion Queen, a leader forged by fire, trials, and the unbreakable will of her heart. And that's the story of Zara, the Lion Queen. If you enjoyed this tale of courage, sacrifice, and redemption, make sure to like this video, share it with someone who loves a good story, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic folktales like this. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload, and let me know your favorite part of Zara's journey in the comments below. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.